Hi everyone, welcome to the CATKing NMAT video series. Today we're going to be analyzing the NMATbyGMAC first official mock which has been launched. So people who have not yet got an idea about, how the paper is different, NMAT has changed the pattern completely. So what I'm going to be doing is today making a video on the official mock analysis so that we get an idea, what are the kind of questions coming in, what should be your target scores, and you should go ahead and practice these mocks so that further you can prepare for your entire exam thoroughly well. All right, people who have not heard of me before, this is Anisha here. I'm going to be taking care of your NMAT preparation, and I'm from the NMIMS 2015 batch. Okay, so let's talk about the quick 2-minute summary of the official new paper pattern which is there. So now you have 108 questions which are divided into 3 sections equally: quants and DI 36 questions, LR 36, verbal 36 questions. So basically each of these sections have equal weightage right now. Time is a very important thing which you need to keep in mind. Okay, you have 52 minutes for quants, 40 minutes for LR, and 28 minutes for verbal ability section. Okay, another interesting fact which is there is you will get your scale scores within 48 hours of the exam. So you don't have to worry about the window normalization, when will I get my scores, die out of anxiety of those same things. That's not required. So this is what you're going to be getting. Plus you will get the scores in a range which is similar to GMAT, because the entire exam is now adaptive, exactly like how GMAT used to be. All right, to get a feel of it, you guys can give the official NMATbyGMAC mock or the CATKing free mock. Give any one of these mocks, get an idea about the kind of questions that are coming in, and I'll be talking to you further ahead about each section, dissecting what kind of questions came in, how many questions from each of the modules. So please make sure you guys are making notes. It's a very important video because when a new mock is launched, the best perspective, the best idea you can get from is the NMATbyGMAC official mock, because it is those people only conducting the exam. All right, so please make sure you guys are practicing that for sure. All right, so here we come to the second section of the area of our exam. What we are talking about right now is I'm going to be talking about now individual section wise where what they stand for. Okay, so if I look at the NMATbyGMAC quants section of the mock, okay, this is what the bifurcation was: 36 questions, 52 minutes. You had a lot of questions. Okay, so let's now talk about the quantitative ability section. What comes in this particular section of your official mock? Okay, so 36 questions, 52 minutes. If I look at each individual areas, one very big important change which you should keep in mind is there is no geometry. Okay, absolutely no geometry questions. So that is something which is a very big change that NMAT is coming up with this year. Apart from that, you will see a stark increase in the number of questions coming from modern maths. Okay, out of the 36 questions, 16 questions were still from the DS, which is data interpretation and data sufficiency area, where a very new interesting is DI caselets, just like how you get in CAT. So caselet based questions, bar graph questions. You can also have, this particular mock had bar graph questions. You could also get tables, because see, at the end of the day, you are going to be getting questions from a pool of questions which come in, right? So you can get bar graph, pie chart, tables, all of these kind of questions, and 4 to 5 questions of data sufficiency. So invariably, maths, I have 20 questions. Now these 20 questions are divided into 3. That is number properties, which is like your numbers and remainder theorem, a number system kind of questions. Then comes arithmetic, which is a little major chunk. In fact, out of the 20, more than 40 to 50% is basically arithmetic. Arithmetic is all your percentages, averages, ratios, simple compound interest, profit loss, time and work, and time, speed and distance as well. Also mixtures and allegations comes into arithmetic area. Then comes modern maths. So earlier there used to be like, modern maths like PNC, probability, maybe one question or maybe not. So there were 6 in the official mock. So I would say that now you have to give a lot of weightage into studying all of these topics. So you cannot leave it out into option, because end of the day, there is sectional cutoff also. One major observation is, overall, if you see, the quants was number properties and arithmetic was easy to moderate, but your modern maths was more on the side of moderate to difficult. Plus data interpretation was again moderate to difficult. That means it lives by how NMAT DI is famous to be more calculation intensive. So it's going to be taking that into consideration. So if I go ahead and talk to all of you guys about, your preparation, I think majority of the students end up taking quants pretty lightly. I would say don't do that. I'm sure the NMAT quants and CAT quants are going to be comparable this year. So please do give focus onto it and do study modern maths, because they will be easy to score if you know your concepts and fundas pretty clear. All right. So this is all about your section of quants. If I were to say ideal attempts, see, ideally you should attempt all 36 questions. You have to see all 36 questions. You have to keep on moving ahead if you're not able to solve. I mean, one mantra, if I were to tell you, the strategy you need to adopt to make sure you clear the NMAT, all sectional cutoffs and everything, is to learn to move on. Okay, which simply means if in 30 seconds to 60 seconds you're not able to solve a particular question, please mark something and move ahead. Marking randomly is as good as a negative marking question, because it's an adaptive test, right? So mark and go ahead. Okay, don't leave the questions blank, because it's going to be considered the same thing. Even if you do it wrong or if you don't attempt, the impact is going to be same on the adaptive test, that this is not what you are capable to solve. So might as well mark it. What if it's correct? What if your guesswork becomes correct, right? But do smart guesses. All right, we'll have a detailed video on the day strategy of how to take the mocks, but today we'll focus on the analysis and dissecting each section, what comes and what does not come onto it. All right, if you guys have any doubts, any questions, or any particular topics which you feel you're not really good at and you would like us to cover up and teach in these further ahead sessions, you can drop in onto the comments. I'll make sure we pick up the strategy for all of them. And further ahead, any other particular questions or doubts you have, drop it on the comments for sure. Okay, let's move further ahead to now talking about your verbal ability section. This section is pretty interesting now. You have 36 questions, 28 minutes time. So that's like they have increased the questions a lot, but they haven't increased the time that much, right? So you will see 36 questions now have 3 sets of RCs. RCs are factual, inference based, and your vocabulary based questions are coming inside the RC in forms of, a word of the meaning or word of the phrase as compared to the actual passage which is there. So that is about your reading comprehension. Paraforming is nothing but your para jumbles, your para construction. So I can call it anything, but it's more or less of the same type, where you have 5 sentences, arrange it into sequence, or you have first and the sixth fixed and 4 in between, you have to arrange them in the correct sequence. So that is called as your para construction. Then we have grammar based questions, which are of the type of your grammar error identification and prepositions. Okay, prepositions are coming in the form of fill in the blanks and these kind of questions. Plus you have sentence completion, which is something that used to come pretty often in GRE, but it's easy, it's not very tough. And analogy comes. Analogies is again based on my vocabulary. So for people who have been saying ki yaar vocabulary bilkul nikal gaya hai to mat karo and all of that, what I would say is direct vocabulary questions of synonyms, antonyms is out, but still study vocabulary, because it will help you in your reading comprehension and in your analogies. In these 2 sections, it will for sure help you. Okay, overall this section was easy. Only para jumbles was something which was on the tougher side. Rest, verbal was not a challenge for taking in the first mock test. Last section to talk about today we have is your reasoning section. Okay, in reasoning section, people who gave NMAT last year would know that verbal reasoning had seen a spike in the weightage last year, and that still stays. though the number of questions is reduced, total number of verbal reasoning questions is still fixed at 15, which is a huge chunk. And all of them were moderate, I would say, not very easy, because you need to build practice for them. This is something which is one of the most neglected sections, because verbal reasoning does not come in CAT. So if I were to, tell you which section is the most important in your preparation phase, I will say it's verbal, because verbal reasoning and verbal together invariably are the same concept. It's going to have the same ideology and structure to be thought of and prepared, right? So make sure all the CATKing students especially do not skip any of your Wednesdays and Fridays verbal sessions with Rahul sir, because your 36 questions of the verbal section plus 15 of the verbal reasoning section, that makes it 51 questions is coming through those 2 days of your live sessions completely all through the end. So make sure you do not skip on to any of that, okay? Verbal reasoning type of questions are statement and conclusion, assumption, course of action, inference based questions, and the typical GMAT style critical reasoning of strengthening and weakening the argument. There was an equal distribution of all of these type of questions in the official mock, which is a very good thing. So you can make sure you understand all of them. The best approach to all of them is understand what is expected and then come up with practice and more practice, so that you can save time, because here you have less, you can say you have 60 seconds per question. All right, then we saw analytical puzzles. I have taken input output also in the form of puzzles, because it comes like a set, right? So you can expect 2 puzzles and 1 input output set based on the previous years. I would say is, here you can have it shifting also. Like you may expect input output 8 questions and 4 analytical puzzles on a different day, because every day, every you can say, slot has different set of questions which come in. So make sure you are prepared for all of them. All right. Then the weightage of the other reasoning which is there, that has reduced. Other reasoning matlab syllogisms, Venn diagrams. Now set theory, Venn diagrams quants में से हटके सिर्फ रीजनिंग में है. लॉजिकल रीजनिंग क्वेश्चंस के 2 ही क्वेश्चंस है. व्हाट इज लॉजिकल रीजनिंग? All your direction sense, blood relations, ranking, mathematical operations, number series, all of them. So still study all of them, though there are only 2 questions from it, but those 2 will be super easy. So let's make sure we are doing that. Okay. So that is what is, if I were to analyze and dissect your entire each section of the NMATbyGMAC's official first mock. Okay. I'm sure the level of difficulty would be varying for people based on your preparation, your strengths and all of them. This is from a general perspective, the level of difficulty as compared to the previous years of NMAT papers. Okay. But very important video, to make sure you save this video and keep with you for you to understand the distribution of questions coming in from various sections, various topics, because that is something which is very essential when you start preparation for any competitive exam, for any exam for that matter. And now since this year the pattern is changing, this is very, very important. Okay. So I hope this has helped all of you guys to, get a fair perspective and an idea about how you should be preparing. For guys who have given the official mock and want some guidance what to do further ahead, I would suggest is in the comment section, punch in your scores, your overall scores and your sectional scores, so that we get an idea how it was. If I were to say, if your target is NMIMS Mumbai, in the official mock, you have to reach a score of 210 to 215 plus, because overall it was not very tough. Okay, so if Mumbai is your target, if you have got today 215, don't take it easy ki sab mein ho jayega, because overall, personally, this mock was easier than the actual NMAT papers, and I'm sure it's going to be that way. Okay, so just make sure you keep practicing. But any doubts, any questions, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be helping you in understanding all of these things. Students who have not yet got on board on the CATKing course and are still thinking what and how to study, how to go ahead with NMAT, and you want to crack in NMAT, NMIMS, that's my number. You can reach out to me or drop me an email. I'll be helping you guys into these preparations. In fact, I take every Thursday live webinars, 1 hour specifically on the exam strategies, the syllabus, the paper pattern, how to approach the tough kind of questions, especially all your verbal reasoning, logical reasoning, input output, data sufficiency, all of these questions which you do not study when you are preparing for CAT. So we'll be doing that in the live NMAT Thursday sessions. Plus the CATKing students have live classes every day, video lectures, 500 plus video lectures here recorded, which you have to watch, mock tests, ebooks. We have an official guide, similar pattern based questions, so that you get as much as relevant practice to NMAT available for you. So if you guys have not yet got on board, let's get started, because I want to target this year as well. We have 50 plus students making it to NMIMS Mumbai for sure. All right, all the best. Thank you for watching the video and stay tuned.